Hey guys, if you've seen any of my videos in the past, then you know they're all storm videos or lightning or, stupid cats or some videos I've made just to, throw some laughs out there. But today I want to talk about something a little more serious. And I've had a hard time talking about this, so you'll have to hang in with me there. But I want to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, with the anxiety and the depression and my personal experience. In late 2009, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, which at the time I didn't really know what it was. You see it on TV all the time, people talking about, oh, this poor guy, he had PTSD and he went and shot up a school, or, this guy killed himself because the PTSD was too much. And while that happens, that's not my case. I kind of want to, just get on that line and, try and get some help out there to those who are out there. Late 2009, early 2010, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. I had been involved in an accident where I received severe burns, second and third degree burns, over 40% of my body. The right side of my face was burned. I burned my cornea. I couldn't see. I was completely blind. All the good stuff, And what I've learned over the past few years is that help is out there. It may not be apparent at first, and, it may not be a subject that people want to talk about, but it is out there. And today we're going to, talk about getting people the help they need. One of the biggest problems I've had is the reoccurring nightmares. It's almost every night, and it's not, what happened with the accident, because I honestly, I don't remember what happened. We go back into, and you'll have to hang in with me here, because like I say, it's hard to talk about. But I go back to stuff that's happened, the loss of friends, the friends who have committed suicide, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and finding out that your best friend just got killed in a car wreck. And, it's stuff that you never forget. You have your good days and you have your bad days. You manage for a week or two, and then you think things are going good, and then one night you lay down to go to sleep, and it's like all hell's broke loose, and it's fucking World War II in your head again. And it's really unpleasant, and it's something nobody should ever have to go with or deal with. And it's like, I've managed for so long, and things have gotten better, but some of the biggest downsides that I've had is the self-harm and the depression that comes along with it. I was diagnosed with catatonic depression. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's major depression, which is also known as clinical depression, which puts you into a catatonic state. Your body essentially shuts down. You're not functional. You end up in a hospital bed with a feeding tube, getting fed for a week while you're laying there in, a catatonic state. And trust me, it's no fun. I hate it. It is complete hell. Well, I haven't really figured out what the triggers are, and I've been dealing with this for years now. But that's one of the things I kind of want to cover. After all of this happened, I thought I was managing real well. I was raging. I didn't, notice it at the time. I was kind of in a completely different world. And you just kind of, you live life, but you're not really living. You're alive. You take risks. You're always looking for that high that you can't obtain. It's like you never feel happy. You just want an escape. And for the longest time, I would harm myself. If you look at my arms right now, my wrists, my shoulders, my back, I have cut marks and scars that I'll never be able to hide. It got worse in 2011. On May 22nd, 2011, a lot of you were there. Our city of Joplin, Missouri was hit by a multi-vortex EF5. And I've been with the Red Cross for quite a few years now, working disaster services, and I've trained, as an EMT, and I've worked as an EMT in search and rescue. So as soon as that hit, it was like our team met up and we were out on the ground, and that's what we did. Well, May 23rd, I had finally met this girl who I'd been talking to forever, and she was something else. One of those ones that you can't replace. Well, I guess, being in that situation for 13 days, working nonstop, dealing with what we dealt with, being stressed out, it finally took hold. And one night, things got bad, and it showed to her that I was actually doing this. I started cutting myself in front of her. I started harming myself. And it got to the point where one night she got up and looked at me and walked out the door and said, "I'm not coming back." And that's probably one of the worst feelings I've ever felt, knowing that I hurt somebody bad enough that they don't want to be associated with me. They want nothing to do with me. And they're willing to drop everything and throw away everything to better themselves, which I can't blame her for, just to be out of that situation. And that's when I noticed that it was really taking a toll on myself and my family and, the things that were going on. You'll have to hang with me, I got a cold here. And it's like, you try to deal with it the best you can, and I seeked help after that, and I ended up going to rehab for a little over a year for post-traumatic stress and the anxiety and the depression. And even though I'm doing better, I still have those days to where I still want to harm myself. There were a couple times to where, I couldn't tell you what happened. All I know is I came to in the hospital and I had 2nd-degree burns down the left side of my arm, 3rd-degree burns down my right side of my leg. And those are scars that are never going to go away. And I think the personal scars that you get aren't near as bad as the scars you inflict on somebody else. Seeing what I did to her, what I did to my family, that was the point where I decided it's time to change. Things have got to go, differently. This isn't going to cut anymore. I can't risk losing anybody else that I truly care about. And at first, my family wasn't, real understanding. To this day, they still aren't. My mom would say, oh, it's in your head. Or my family would say, it's in your head. You just have to get over it. And being in that position, the only thing I could think was, well, no fucking shit, it's in my head, And it did upset me. It hit me weird. But I understand that, not everybody wants to acknowledge that this is going on and this is something that you have to deal with. And that was kind of my case. I put it off for a very long time because I just didn't want to acknowledge it. Hey, this is happening. This is real. And it finally got the best of me. And being in that position, it's weird because people try to tell you that, oh, just get over it or deal with it. Well, how are you supposed to deal with something that you've never experienced before when you don't know what's going on? You've never been in that position. You don't know how to handle it. Society looks at you and they see you with all these scars, and they just look at you as another fuck up, just somebody out looking for attention, and you're nobody to them. Well, that's not true. I've tried to be as productive as I can in my society. Volunteering nonstop, volunteering at a homeless shelter, even at the Ronald McDonald House. I mean, there's some of the best people I've worked with around here, other than the crew I work with right now. And everybody in that position is understanding. It's just that when a stranger looks at you, they look at you as this being that doesn't belong here. This, like I say, in other words, a fuck up that, will never contribute to society, that sits at home, cuts himself, does it for attention, and that's not true. And that's not how you handle people with post-traumatic stress or depression or anything like that. And I hate that. I have never been so irritated or infuriated by anything in my life. Getting into the anxiety side, anxiety attacks are scary. And if you've ever experienced one, it's almost like you're having a heart attack. It is terrifying. Your heart starts racing. You feel like you're having a heart attack. You're panicking. You're freaking out. You're sweating. And it's a horrible feeling. I wouldn't want anybody ever going through that. And I remember one day I was on my motorcycle, and I was coming out of Pitcher, Oklahoma, which is no longer a town. It doesn't exist anymore. And anybody who's ever been down there knows that there's an S-curve that goes right into that road. And I came around that corner, and I'm not going to go into how fast I was going, but I came out the other side, and I was, pretty damn close to eating the grill of a Freightliner. And it hit me so hard that I went dizzy. And I have never been so dizzy in my life. My eyes closed, I went down to the ground, my bike went up through the trees, and that was all she wrote. I didn't ride for about 6 months after that. That was a big one for me. But, there's help out there for anxiety, and there's help out there for post-traumatic stress. The anxiety for me was a little easier to deal with than the PTSD and the depression. The anxiety was really controllable, easily controllable. The PTSD, I still have problems with, but I have it under control to this day. Getting into the depression side, it's not that you're sad. You don't want to be sad. Because trust me, nobody wants to feel like that. Nobody wants to be in that position to where you're sad all the time. You just fucking want to cry. You want to run away. You don't want to exist anymore. And that is a horrible, horrible feeling. And when it hit me in 2011, to where, Jared got up and walked out, and looking at, in my city, the faces of the people that I'm never going to see again in my life. Nobody is. Their family's not. they're not going to be at that next meeting. They're not going to be at that next city council meeting. They're not going to be at the park with their family. They're not going to be having supper with their kids or their parents or their brothers and sisters. And having that hit me, you know, in that position, and I understand that affected everybody, and it affected everybody, and, you know, in a completely different way. But that took a major toll on me. That sent me into the depressive side to where I didn't get out of bed for about 7 days straight. I ended up in the hospital. I wasn't eating. And it was a culmination of, you know, the city being destroyed, the people, you know, passing away, the children who never did anything wrong passing away, never coming back. And a big part of it was, you know, Jared getting up and leaving because I had hurt her that bad. So all that compiled into one, and, you know, it just stacked up to the point to where I couldn't function. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I ended up hospitalized. And after I got out of the hospital, I just wanted to die so bad that it was ridiculous. And I don't really want to go into detail, you know, with what happened, because that's not something that should really be out there. I don't even feel comfortable making this video, and I don't want to put that out there for the world. But to just want to escape so bad that you're willing to take your own life, it's not something I want to see anybody go through. And that's, at the end of this video, I'm going to, you know, try and get some information out there. And if you need my personal cell phone number to give me a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, then I'll be damned, I'll give you my cell phone number. If you need my email, if you need, you know, a crisis line or anything, then I'm available 24/7. It doesn't matter what time it is, where you're at in this world. I don't care if I have to pay, you know, $10 a minute to save somebody from going through that shit, I will. And excuse my language through all this, I just don't care anymore. But dealing with the depression on top of the PTSD was probably the worst for me. Being in that state to where you're not there, you're just, to put it in, you know, terms where everybody can understand, you're like a zombie. You don't know what's going on, you don't know where you're at, you're not yourself, you're not that person. And it is a horrible feeling to go visit your family and have them all just kind of stare at you from another room because nobody knows who you are. And then you're just sitting there thinking, I don't even know who I am myself. It's hell. It is a complete hell. And it is something that nobody should ever have to go through. And it got to the point, like I said, I don't want to get too much into this, but it got to the point to where I started drinking. I couldn't take it anymore. I just wanted a way out. And I remember one day, and I'll never forget this, I had been on a binge for about 2 weeks. I mean, we were drinking more than anybody could have. I woke up one day in the hospital, I had alcohol poisoning. I was out, you know, 2 days later, and I was back at it again. And it got to the point to where I was sitting in my brother's backyard with a case of beer and a pistol in my hand. And that was the final draw for me. I was going to kill myself right there. And I remember that I passed out. I got so drunk that I passed out because apparently I'm a lightweight. You know, 290 pounds, I'm a fucking lightweight. And an officer tapped on my window, my car window, because my mother had called him because she thought something had happened. Well, you know, if things hadn't happened that way and, you know, he would have been there 20 minutes too late, something would have happened. And everybody thinks you're doing it for attention. That's not the case. It's really not. You just want away so bad. You want an escape. And I can't tell you how that feels. If you're in that position, then you do whatever you got to do to get out of that, because nobody deserves to lose a life to that. I see all these posts online, you know, of people talking about, oh, fucking drink bleach, or, you know, shoot yourself. You know what? If that's really how you feel, I'll give you my address and you can come tell that to me. Because you may think it's a joke online, just bullshitting with somebody. Hey, you know, I'm going to troll this person or troll this person. Well, what happens when they really do take their life? You don't give a fuck. You never met that person. You don't know a thing about them. It doesn't affect you. But it does affect the family. And it affects their friends. Yeah, maybe what they did was absurd to you. But that's not, you know, they're not doing it for you. They're doing it because that's the only way they know how to escape. Cutting themselves. Trying to get, you know, a release and a relief of that pain. Or, you know, taking drugs. I don't condone drugs at all. I really don't. I don't even like people who smoke pot. If you smoke pot, that's fine with me. Just don't do it around me. You know, they don't do it to fucking do it. If they're in that position, they're doing it for an escape. Because life has become such shit to them. And they're at that point where they're not in the right mind state, where they don't know how to deal with it anymore. And they're just looking for any subtle release that they can. And I'm not justifying drug use. And I'm not justifying, you know, cutting or harming yourself. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to give a little insight as to what goes through, you know, somebody's mind in that position. And, excuse me. And being in that to where, you know, you're willing to take your life and you're willing to do whatever it takes, it is a bad position to be in, and I urge you to seek help. And I don't care if it's your best friend or if it's a friend you haven't talked to for 20 years. Give them a call. And getting back on the post-traumatic stress, it's like, if you haven't experienced it, you have, well, not for everybody, but I personally have recurring nightmares. And it's not for any one subject. You know, we go back to stuff that had happened when I was a child, to being blown up, to having those burns, to, you know, even little things like, you know, rolling up on the scene of a car wreck and then seeing somebody, you know, in that position. Or, in my case, you know, being blown up and then having Jericho leave because I completely fucked her over. I destroyed that girl, and that's my fault, and that's something I've got to live with, and that's one of my big issues, and I'm not even going to act like it's not, because that is. But if you're in that position, or if you know anybody that's in that position, don't treat them as an outcast. Don't tell them it's in their head. I mean, to me, that's stupid, being in that position. And I understand, you know, some people don't understand it, and people don't want to deal with it, but that's not how it is. People out there genuinely need help, and they really do. And it's funny because you guys are going to give me so much shit for this. I really don't care. I mean, there's a lot you don't know, I just don't give a shit. You know, you guys are some of the best friends I've ever had, and we can joke and bullshit with each other, and I'm still going to call you, you know, you Arabs like Thomas over there, I'm still going to call you a sheep fucker. I don't care. Give me all the hell you want, but... Oh, wait, hold on. You're going to give me shit for calling you an Arab terrorist, even though you're what? Oh, I'm an American. I have a green pass, or a green card. Nigga, you still live overseas. You're a terrorist to me. I'm kidding. That's not how typical Americans work. Don't think that, because I know you guys can misconstrue fucking everything said here, and you will too. But all I ask is that if somebody's in that position, please, you know, just try and help them. Don't push them over the edge. And you may think those little jokes are harmless, but they really do hurt deep. The depression is something, you know, it affects everybody, you know, in their own ways, and so does post-traumatic stress, and, you know, anxiety is pretty much a bitch to everybody, you know, you meet and who has it. But don't treat them like an outcast. You know, be their friend, be there for them, try and help them. And I'm not here to lecture you guys on what to do and all that, because like I say, I know you're going to misconstrue everything in this video. But just, you know, be the person that you would want if you were in that position. You know, be that helping hand. And, you know, you get down into the PTSD side, and you're a completely different person, like I said. You're not there, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're dealing with, and all you want is a relief. And a release, excuse me. Apparently Taco Bell doesn't like me too well. I'll be writing that one off to them. And, I don't know. It's just, don't be an asshole. I mean, there's a lot we still don't understand. There's a lot we still don't know. And, you know, people need help out there. And I'm willing to give it, you know, what I can, when I can, to whoever I can at whatever time. And I guess I've kind of gotten off track with my account with the PTSD and the anxiety and depression, but I feel like, you know, I can control myself. I can control what's going on now, and I feel like it's, you know, everybody else out there that's dealing with this needs somebody to at least try and understand what they're going through. I understand that not everybody is going to try or even care, but, you know, you do what you can when you can. Just be that friend. Going back to the anxiety, it's like, that's one of the worst feelings. That and the depression. You get to shaken, you're scared. You know, I'm 24 years old, I'm 293 pounds, I'm a big son of a bitch. When I get scared, people think something's wrong. I mean, that's pretty bad, but it's not the case. It's just, you know, something clicks, and then I start shaking and panicking, and my heart's racing, and it's not pleasant. Sorry, I don't really want to get into that. Going back to the depression side. Like I said, I mean, it's not for attention. Granted, there are people out there who, you know, oh, hey, look, I have this, you know, love me, give me attention, and all that shit. If you genuinely have problems, then there are people out there that will help, and I'm here to help. And you know what? I've got some of the best friends in the world, and they'll help no matter what. You know, no matter where you are. I don't care if they have to drive to Florida from, you know, California, because you need a hug, you know, the very next day. They'll fucking be there. And, I don't know. All I ask is that, you know, and I really don't know where I went with this video. It was just one of those things where I was thinking, and it's like, it needs to be done. But all I ask is that you guys try and be supportive of those out there. And don't tell somebody to kill themselves when they're already in that position. I understand people troll and people do it for fun and all that, but if somebody's really in that position, and then they're going to do it. They don't need somebody telling, you know, do it. Go ahead, push yourself over it. What they need is somebody to sit there and say, look, man, I'm here to listen, and I'm here as long as you need me. Whatever you need, I have it, and I'm here. So, I guess, since we're already at 21 minutes, I'll let you guys get back to doing whatever you're doing before you decided to watch this pointless video. But, just think about what I said. Don't be that guy. Just try and lend a hand, or an ear, or a shoulder, or whatever you can. I'll post in the comments on this video, you know, some crisis lines or help for PTSD and anxiety and depression, because dealing with PTSD and catatonic depression and anxiety, I know exactly what it feels like to be walking through hell. And I'm not a religious person. That's my personal choice. Don't push that on me. Don't tell me I need God, because I'll tell you to go fuck yourself in the asshole with an iron skillet. But if you do believe in God, and that's your choice, I'm going to respect that. Then by all means pray. If you need to look for the light, and that's what you need to get better, and that's what you believe in, then do it. I'm not going to look down on you. I'm not going to look down on you for anything. Do what you need to do to get yourself out of that position. And like I say, I don't care if that means you got to run 5 miles a night, you know, while screaming hallelujah. Do it. Nobody deserves to lose their life to this shit anymore. Nobody deserves to feel that way. So, I'll let you guys get back to doing what you're doing. And I expect to see quite a bit of hate on this video once it posts to Facebook. Because that's how you guys are to me. You know, you say you love me, but you hate me. Treat me like shit. Call me fat. Call me a redneck. You know, say I sound like a hillbilly. You can kiss my ass too. So, like I say, I'll post that stuff in the comments. So if you need anything, just feel free to let me know. Mom, I know I put you through hell. These past few years have been hell. But you know what? If you look back, and even you can attest to the past 2 years, or well, the past year and a half have gotten a lot better. You know, and you can attest that losing Jer was pretty much the breaking point for me. That's when I got on my knees and said, look, shit's got to change. Dad, yeah, we don't talk, you know, but I'm still your son. I still love you. That's, you know, something we'll have to work out through the years. I hope. Jerica, you know, I know what I did. And I'll never be able to take that back, ever. And there's nothing I can ever say that'll make that better. Ever. But, you know, maybe someday things won't be like they are now. Maybe, you know, someday we can be civil. And that doesn't mean we have to talk. That doesn't mean we have to make up. Maybe someday things will, you know, be different. Sis, you picked me up a lot of times. You picked my ass up off the floor. Even when I, you know, was in ICU and couldn't walk, and they put me on that damn cane. So, you know I love you to death, and I miss you and the girls. So, I expect to hear from you. I'm getting tired of seeing you once a year at Christmas. That's some bullshit. So, but I'll let you guys get back to know what you're doing. Like I say, I'll put those links in the comments, and if you need anything at all, you know, feel free to message me or give me a call. So, don't hate on me too hard.